Hello, everyone. Welcome to another NOLAnerdcast movie review. I'm Matt,
I'm Chris.
and we are the NOLAnerds here to tell you about a movie. This one specifically, Edge of Tomorrow, with the Tom Cruise and the Emily Blunt and the aliens. Actually, I don't think you ever know they're aliens in the trailer. They
No.
just say they died, and no one.
I think it's implied they're aliens because of the whole gimmick.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
I mean,
Okay. I just realized that. I was like, did they ever actually show
they
the
never
aliens?
specifically said, but
I don't know.
gimmick-wise,
Yeah. Oh, once again, we are brought to you by the Grand Esplanade Theater. We are always proud to be sponsored by them. Great theater. Nothing new specifically to talk about except just that in, out. You know what I like about it, though? The curfew.
love the curfew.
Oh,
Especially the older you get, the more you appreciate curfews.
oh man. The theater has a curfew that if you're not accompanied by a parent after 8 o'clock, you can't go see a movie if you're too young, which really cuts down the, I don't want to call them riffraff. Just,
Street rats.
I don't.
Buy that.
There you go. Okay. But yeah, that's a huge plus.
Also, a very strict kicking out policy.
Yeah, if you ever get
And
kicked out,
banning
if
policy.
you ever get kicked out of a movie, you get banned for life. which
Again,
really just shrinks the clientele down to the perfect moviegoers.
Yeah.
You're there to watch a movie.
respectful, quiet,
God, we're old,
not texting.
says you. Coming from me, that's anyway. Let's talk about the movie. So, Edge of Tomorrow is probably, outside of Guardians of the Galaxy, which even that doesn't quite count because it's a Marvel movie, and so you kind of have an idea of what to expect from that. I went into this movie knowing nothing about it. I just found out it was based on a book series.
All you need is kill.
So I felt this was the one movie that I went in with no preconceived notions. If anything, this movie had a lot going against it because Tom Cruise's previous sci-fi action movie, Oblivion, was garbage.
Yeah.
So kind of seeing him in another one so soon after was, you kind of had reservations. But I'm proud to say that I really, really enjoyed this movie. What'd you think, Chris?
I thoroughly enjoyed it, actually.
Ooh, thoroughly.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Cruise, I haven't really loved anything Tom Cruise has done since the 80s.
It's been, not even the 90s?
No,
Mission Impossible?
I didn't say it.
Okay, well, 90s Tom Cruise.
80s Tom Cruise.
90s.
I'm not going to say that.
No, you're saying 80s. I'm
Okay.
saying 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, Interview with the Vampire was 90s.
there you go.
Yes.
90s.
That was good.
Ah.
Shut up. So it's been a long time coming, and this movie really played to his strengths. You know, his likability, his unaging process.
Dude, he's like Patrick Stewart
He's
in
like
that he looks the same.
he's 50.
Is he?
He's like over 50.
That's absurd.
And he looks like
It's the power of
Late-
Scientology.
late 30s, early 40s.
It's all right.
It's sick.
He did a really good job of, I mean, going back to what made him so popular in these types of movies in the past.
Yeah.
He kind of, I mean, to be fair, plot wise, it didn't demand too much.
It's Groundhog Day and Alien War.
It's Starship Troopers meets Groundhog Day. That's how I
Yeah,
thought.
that's a
I
good
always
one.
thought it was. This is basically Starship Troopers meets Groundhog Day, even down to the hive mind.
Hive mind, robot suits.
Yeah. Robot.
Robot.
Say it.
Robot suits.
God.
And the Groundhog Day gimmick of starting the same day over and over a million times, and then being awesome at things because you've done it so often.
With the exception of you have to be murdered. If ever he goes a full day without dying, he loses the regenerative power to turn back time.
Well, no. He can go more than a day, but if he's injured
okay.
and hospitalized,
I didn't catch that.
No.
Okay.
If hypothetically, if he survived the whole first day, a whole second day, his life would have just lived normally, and then when he died, it would have reverted back.
Oh.
It was because they changed his blood that he lost his gift.
Okay.
Curse.
Well, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about the good.
Okay. The good, let's start with, I thought Emily Blunt was a very good secondary character and a main female. She didn't come across, she wasn't relegated to love interest. she was badass in her own right and was almost like the person that ushered in Tom Cruise to his new scenario because she was the one that lived it first.
Yeah.
She's the person we learn the truth behind the invasion from, and the visions and the downside to his ability, like what would be the worst possible thing to happen.
Mm-hmm.
We learn all that from her, and plus there is no cooler visual than when she's holding the giant, what looks like a hunk of metal, a helicopter blade, and is just chopping through the aliens.
Her look is amazing.
The
visual design of the exoskeletons are also really plausible.
Like, it seems like it could be a mass-produced thing for soldiers.
It seems like stuff I've seen on YouTube videos that DARPA's already working on. It doesn't seem that far off.
And when you get to the point where he's lived enough lives that he knows what he's doing, and there's one scene where they show them fighting off the beach, and the two of them using the suits, all of its abilities, the machine guns, the rockets, the almost like jet boosts thing, and it is a visual treat. That part. Actually, the whole movie, the action scenes were very visual treatishness.
I just realized something.
What?
I know why this movie came out today.
Why?
D-Day.
Oh! That makes so much more sense.
Because the whole movie is invading the beaches of France.
Yeah. Wow.
Damn.
I didn't catch that either.
Me neither.
Ah.
I just realized it because I was thinking...
Look at us. The internet gets to realize how slow we are on the uptake together. Okay.
Yeah, anyway.
So yeah, the
exosuits look great. The battle sequences look really good.
Bill Paxton was fantastic as the asshole boot sergeant. Boot?
The word before.
Nah, that's fine.
That's the one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He was almost unrecognizable just because he had a big, thick mustache.
Yeah, I actually broke a cardinal sin and had to go duck behind my chair and look up IMDb.
They would have banned you from
because we could not read. And then we realized how stupid we felt when this was the guy that finally made Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. great, and here's Bill Paxton being delightful on screen on Edge of Tomorrow.
So what you're saying is this whole video is just us not being quick.
To be fair, we did admit that we went into this movie knowing nothing.
It's true, and we did.
And I gotta say, and not enough movies get enough credit for this.
Mm-hmm.
The trailer gave away almost nothing.
Just enough.
Yeah, just enough to get you intrigued, but didn't spoil any of the big stuff.
No, it didn't touch any of the big stuff.
Not even the biggest action sequences were shown in the trailer.
No,
it was all like in the first 10 minutes.
It was all it was all setting up the gimmick, the stuff on the beach, and how that progressed. And like a little bit later on, but nothing involved with the actual plot.
Yeah,
nothing crazy.
It was nice. I kind of got to enjoy the story without knowing like, I saw that coming because it was in the trailer. A nice bit of humor as well.
Yeah,
I mean, not overly where it wasn't goofy.
It had some genuinely funny moments, and especially whenever Tom Cruise has to reset his life, or his reactions to it are pretty priceless.
And also Emily Blunt's just mechanical coldness and being like, all right,
we got to restart.
That led to some good moments there.
Yes.
What else did you like about it?
That's almost about it. I thought the action was really good.
I thought the monster designs, the alien designs were really cool. They looked very frightful in action. Like they're just a whirling mass of tentacles that destroyed everything.
I didn't love the designs.
Okay.
They're a little bit too close to the Squiddies from the Matrix. And some lesser Michael Bay formers. I mean they're a unique design because who wants to see like District 9 aliens fighting again?
Yeah,
but
I thought, all right, let me point this out. I thought it was refreshing to not have humanoid aliens.
That's true.
Nothing humanoid about them. Like normally you're fighting bipedal aliens or something like that.
And honestly, from the trailer, I thought they were 4-legged creatures. Just because they were so briefly shown, I thought they had 4 legs. But I didn't super love it.
Okay,
but it didn't detract from it.
I dug them.
I like the story actually. I thought this kind of Groundhog Day nonsense was well enough explained in the logic of its own story. So
agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Without spoiling anything and just completely out of context, there is never not a time when the I pulled the pins of the grenade surprise reveal is not badass.
No,
it is always cool.
It always works out nicely.
Besides that, I really enjoyed. You know what I liked in movies. Pacific Rim did this as well. When you have to get a lot of exposition and storytelling done, and you want to jump right into the story because this starts mid-invasion, 5 years after the invasion. When you get hit by like the montage of news reports and stories and stuff, and fills you in a way that feels very realistic because it's like you're getting all these news reports and without even realizing you're getting all this exposition out of the way in a really quick manner, but in a visual and just tonal style that I thought is always really well done. And you get a lot of that out of the way because otherwise the beginning of the movie would have dragged on a lot longer.
Yes.
Being like, oh, well, this is the story of how a meteor crashed into Germany and then aliens came out.
Yeah, news flashes are the quickest way to disseminate information.
I like the way they do it in the montage. But so what now that we've talked about the good, which is a lot, the story, the characters, the acting, the action, the visuals. What was I know you had some quibbles.
And quibbles is the right word. I mean, there's some things that I didn't love or I didn't like as much, but I don't think they ruined the movie for me.
Right.
I think the biggest of these would be Brendan Gleeson's portrayal of the main general, who is so villainous. Villainous.
Okay.
He more than the aliens, he's the primary antagonist, I think. And
he does impede a lot of their work.
If he had like a little twirly mustache, it would not be far off.
Yeah, it was kind of a dick move the second time we meet him.
I mean, dick move the first time we meet him. Said bigger dick move the second time we meet him. And I get it, but it's still just it's kind of obnoxious. I really.
That's fair.
I just disliked it immensely.
I'll chalk that up to it didn't resonate with me. It just didn't bother me either way. Like that, you mentioned it's the first time I even thought of him in that light. Yeah. But that's fair.
I mean, honestly, his actions in the first 10 minutes of the movie sat with me for a good 10 minutes after. Yeah, but
you don't think I gave a good explanation for it?
No, you did.
Okay.
You did.
Explain it to you.
It bothered me, though.
The reason Tom Cruise is even in the battle because he is a PR specialist is he pissed off the general and the general's like, I want you to go cover the war front, and he's like, no, and then he gets forced into it anyway. Chris didn't think that made sense in this sense of why would you send a cameraman journalist on the front lines?
I mean, with the technology they have available, they could have easily just put a camera on someone and just cut it later.
But the way I looked at it is the original plan was they were going to land on a beach with no resistance, and that is the ideal place to put a journalist to cover it because it's all supposed to be PR. The way the general explains it, we're going to have a lot of casualties. We're going to need to show the people back home, we got to keep them pumped up and joining the fight. And so you get the face of the movement like they show in the montage that Tom Cruise's character is the biggest voice of the upcoming battle in the army, and he's the big proponent. Everyone believes in him. So putting him on the front lines would go a long way into doing that. Chris didn't believe it was necessary. I felt from a propaganda military perspective it made perfect sense. So that's that. What else you got? Anything you flat out hated?
No, nothing I flat out hated.
Neither.
I don't like the design of the aliens. And
the general?
And the general, that's about it.
General Mills?
Nah.
General Mike Mills?
No.
All right. Well, I mean, then you want to wrap it up, tell them our final scores, and blah, 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 blah?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, well, I actually surprisingly really liked it. I think this might go down as my big surprise favorite of the summer. Again, Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of cheating because even though it is a big unknown and a new IP and a big gamble for Marvel, knowing it's a Marvel movie and that it ties in the universe kind of gives you expectations. So when I say that this is the big unknown movie, I mean, I didn't know anything other than Tom Cruise was in it. Even that was working against it initially. So I was thoroughly impressed with it. I quite liked it. I'm going to give it a 9, and I would buy this to own because this is a fun movie, and I can definitely see myself enjoying. As an action movie, it's solid. It's quite good. What about you?
It's between an 8.5 and a 9. I like an 8.75.
Okay.
That's not an official score, so
yeah,
work it out in there on your own. I really liked it. put it on my Black Friday Amazon wish list and wait to see what the drops were by
Right.
the time Christmas rolls around. But I don't think I'd be adverse to owning it.
Nice. And if we have never mentioned this before, if you haven't picked it up, I like to purchase movies to own, which is weird in this day and age of digital. There's just something about having a physical copy for a collection. Chris is much more discerning in his purchases, so when he says he'll buy it, it's normally a much bigger deal than when I say I buy it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so almost 2 9s.
Almost.
Rounds out to, if we count your 8.75, almost like an 8.88.
Yep. That's almost exactly what it is.
Math. But yeah, Edge of Tomorrow, Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt.
Go see it.
Go see it. It's good times. And I'm Matt.
I'm Chris.
We're the NOLAnerds, and you can check us out here at youtube.com. Subscribe, like. I don't know where the buttons would be because we don't do this very much.
Okay, this is where the like is.
Okay.
And this is the subscribe.
Sure.
Watch that be totally reversed on the
Right.
actual video.
iTunes. Check us out, NOLAnerd Podcast, because we haven't been able to change it yet. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter, NOLAnerdcast. Email us at NOLAnerdcast@gmail.com. We answer your questions every week on the comic show and every time we do a video game show. And be sure to check out our upcoming E3 coverage for 2014 if you're a video game fan.
It's coming soon.
It's coming super soon.
Right down the tracks.
So yeah, we'll see you later. Have a good night. No? Kawaii?
The name of the moon, I will punish you.
Oh, God.
Fighting evil.